Alma that Rashi says the Gemara wasn't taking that serious. It was just saying a possibility. Okay, and like we said before, the halacha would be like Rav Huna, unless it was Shiva Ba'etzim. So they would all be possible. They would all be treif. Okay. The Gemara asks, Ihachi, if that's the case, that the reason why you need to check the knife is in order to make sure that the following bird or the following animal is kosher, then why do you check the knife? Before you start shechting, the knife has to be checked by the chacham.
Can I answer?
Yeah.
You said before, they would say the Runa Shalosh Shiva Ba'etzim. So what does that mean? That he wasn't chopping bones?
Right.
But what about the fact that it could have been the mafrekas? So
He doesn't. Oh, so
isn't
Rav
that
Huna holds.
Shiva
Thank you. Rashi says that it's a 50-50 chance that it's either the skin or the mefarekas. So Rav Huna wouldn't accept that.
Okay.
So we need something more. That's the Rashi in Be'etzim mefarekas. So why don't we need a bedikas chacham if we're concerned about the future shchitas? Because always before you shecht, you have to show the knife to the chacham. So Ihachi tibay nami bedikas chacham. And the Gemara says no, it's not necessary because eidecha naman beisurim. We can trust one person. You go home, your wife makes food. You don't need testimony from two people that the food was kosher. You can trust eidecha. One person is trusted. Rashi over here says, where do we know eidecha naman beisurim? Brings an interesting source. He says v'shachar es ben abakar. He says the kohen shechts. Maybe not the kohen. One person shechts, and everyone else is eating. The kohenim are eating, and it doesn't say that we had witnesses there making sure that the shechita was good. It must be that we can trust one person to do shechita. Rashi in Gittin says that how do you know eidecha naman beisurim? How do you know you can trust one person? He says ma'aseh b'chol yom. He says because that's the fact of what people do, and we trust it. That's the way the world works. Is that Tosfos says that we learn it from a zava. Tosfos in Gittin says we learn it from a zava. It says that she has to count 7 days. The safra she counts. Maybe we should have witnesses come and count that she's clean. But says no, we don't need that because b'safra tells me eidecha. So Ihachi, if that's the case that we trust eidecha mikara namilai, why do we ever take it to a chacham? Just have the fellow check his knife. Rabbi Yochanan says, why do you show it to the chacham? The chacham should check. That's just for respect for the chacham, but that's not actually a din in shchita. That's a din in showing respect for the chacham that you show him the knife. Trying to catch up to you. Okay. This is sort of a new Gemara, but it's not a new Gemara because we've been discussing this topic. But Minoha Milsa Damar Rabbanon. From where do we know this matter that the Rabbi said, Uki Milsa Achazke? Where do we know that we leave something on its assumed status? Where's the source for this? Amrab Shmuel Bar Nachmani Amar Rabbi Yonasan. Shmuel Bar Nachmani says the name of Rabbi Yonasan. We always said Shmuel Bar Nachmani Amar Rabbi Yonasan. When you see those names, you're always going to expect a pasuk to come. They were very into learning psukim. Amar Kra, it says in the pasuk, "V'yotza hakayin min habayis, el pesach habayis v'hisker sabayis shivas yamim." Talking about tzaras on a house. And what happened is that if there's a spot of leprosy on a house, the kohen has to close off the house and see if it's going to spread. But while the house is closed off, the house is tamei. It's assumed tamei. And during that, when it's sealed off, no one's supposed to go in it. If someone does go in it, he becomes tummy. So The question is that Dilma Adenafik Va'asa Batzalish Yura. What's happening here? The kohen goes into the house. He looks around. He says, "Yes, that's a spot. Okay, we have to see if it's spreading." So he sends everyone out, and he goes out. Maybe as he's walking out, when he turned his back to go out, the spot shrunk, and when he closes the door, it wasn't really a full size of a spot. Maybe it switched size. It shrunk, and when he closed the door, is it considered that the house was muskar? That it's not. There was no nega there. He saw it a few seconds before he closed the door. By the time he closed the door, could be it shrunk. The Gemara is trying to prove that elalav, is it not shum damrinan uki achazke? That we say it's assumed. Look, I saw it a minute ago. I'm going to assume that it stays the same until I know that it changed, and you don't know that it changed. So, and if you do find out that it changed, we'll say that it changed at the end, not at the beginning. Because we'll establish it that it has a chazaka. Tosfos on the top says, "Don't ask the following question," which means that he has a question. The question is that maybe you don't say that things have a chazaka. Maybe it's a safek tumah b'rishus hayachid, and we learned yesterday that a safek tumah, a doubtful tumah in a private property, is tamei for other reasons, not because of chazaka. It's because of Allah l'meishem misinai and all of that. So Tosfos says it's not necessarily so, because it could be that Rishus Harabim here doesn't mean that you have 16 Amos and 600,000 people walking by. That's not the term of Rishus Harabim when it comes to Safek Tumah. Safek Tumah, remember, we're taking it from a saita, where a woman is secluded in a room with another man, and we say, oh, that's Rishus Hayachid. Rishus Harabim would mean that if there's 3 people there, you already have a Rishus Harabim. One more person. For these things, one more person. So it could be that this is a Rishus Harabim as well. And nevertheless, we're saying that it's considered Tameh, because we saw the spot a minute ago and we closed the door. The Kayan closes the door. So that would still be... says that you can ask a different question. That maybe, you see, by the knife, there was a problem with the knife afterwards. So,
sure, with the Raga Chova, you're going to do Chefza and Delver. It was a wild location.
Yeah. Anyway, Tosfos over here says that that he's trying to match up the 2 cases, that they should match perfectly, so that we should be able to say that what we're bringing here is a proof that we do go by chazaka. We take the assumed status just like we did by the animal. Okay. Maskefla Rav Acha Bar Yaakov. Rav Acha Bar Yaakov has a question, and he's asking on Rabbi Yonason. Rabbi Yonason brought a proof that we follow chazaka because when the kohen closes the door, we assume that the spot of leprosy is the same. Maybe the kohen walked out backwards. The kachazi like hinafik, and he was able to see the spot. What's your proof? You have a big proof that you follow chazaka because he turned his back and he closed the door, and we say that the spot didn't disappear. Maybe he walked out backwards. So Amalei Abaya state shuvas bedavar says, I'll give you 2 reasons why that's not a problem. Because the Torah doesn't say that you have to walk out backwards. You're making this case. And Chada, first one problem is the Yitziyah derech acher v'leishmi Yitziyah. It says that the Kohen will leave the house. It says Yitziyah, v'yatza, he'll leave the house. If he's walking out backwards, that's not called Yitziyah. That's not called walking out backwards. We'll see in a minute with more details to that. Another problem is let's say the spot was behind the door, where as you close the door, you can't see what's behind the door when you close. And
why does it have to be there? Why can't it be from the front door?
No.
Ravacha's question.
No, he is saying that maybe he walked out backwards and he was able to see the spot the whole time as the door is closing, and so therefore there's no chazaka here.
Oh, so he went through the.
He's
It's
walking
not the
out
front door or
backwards.
back
He's
door.
walking out
Okay.
backwards, like Eily Shalom.
Right.
We want to say that the minute that he closes the door was already swallowed.
We were trying to say that right when before he closed the door it was already swallowed.
It happened later. The people who went into the house this week for shutdown.
Right.
We want to say that the esger wasn't the esger.
Right. Unless we can say chazaka, we're trying to prove that why is the hesker a hesker? Because of chazaka. So he's asking who says that that's a chazaka? Maybe he walked out backwards and he saw it. So Abai is telling him no. If he walked out backwards, that the pasuk wouldn't have said Yitzia. And also, what about the case of Acheri Adeles? Ma'yikal Meimar. How are you going to be able to see a spot behind the door? So for that, he says V'chitema the pasuk b'kavasa, that you open a spot in the door, that you're able to see it as you close the door. You make like a peephole in the door, that you can look at the spot while you're closing the door. It says V'hatanan, you can't say that. We have a Mishnah that says Bayasafel, if there's a dark house, Ein Paischon B'chalaynis L'irsis Nigay. You do not make windows to be able to see the nega. And here you're trying to make a window to be able to see the nega, so when you can close the door, you'll be able to do that. We don't do that. We don't make windows. We don't change the circumstance. It's if you can't see the nega, so then it's tar. Amalei Rava responds to Abaya, the ka'amrit yitzia derech acherav leishmi yitzia. This that you said that walking out backwards is not yitzia, that's not true. Because Kohen Gadol b'Yom Kippurim yechiach. The Kohen Gadol on Yom Kippur, Tiksiv be yitzia. It says v'yatza v'asa aylasai, that the Kohen Gadol goes out, and after he leaves the Kodesh HaKadoshim, and he performs the service with his burnt offering, utanan, and it says in the Mishnah, yatza ubalai derech knisasei, that when he goes out and he goes in and he goes out the same way that he comes in. That means that he has to walk out backwards from the Kodesh HaKadoshim, and it says Yitzia. That means he is walking out backwards, and the Torah still calls it Yitzia. This that you said, that a dark house you can't make a window to be able to see the spot, that's only if you never saw the spot. We say that it's tar because you can't see the spot in the dark house, and we don't change the lighting in the house. But here you saw the spot. Now you can't deny it. Now you can make a window to be able to see the spot as you close the door. Once you have the spot, what are you going to do? You have to be mitara. So you're going to have to make So therefore, we really don't have a proof that it's a chazaka. Could be that he's walking out backwards. Could be that he's making a hole in the door, and all of that. And
this is the only place that they went chazaka in the whole entire Gemara. Very interesting. The chazaka is applied in so many different
right.
areas. Very interesting.
Yeah.
Wait, who says this is the only place?
Well, the Gemara asks it, like, where do we know this from? No, it could be there's other places, but... Okay, Tanya Delaika Ravacha Bar Yaakov. We'll bring a raya, not like Ravacha Bar Yaakov. It says... Let me leave it over here. I don't want to make... another few minutes. We'll leave it. We'll finish on Shabbos. Tomorrow we learn at 8 o'clock. Today's Friday, right?